Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show! Joining me today, and good thing I verified her name before hitting record, is Val. Say it again. I've already forgotten.
Kleppen.
Klepp, like an E, but it's an A. K-L-A-P-P-E-N, but it sounds like an E in there. Yes?
Well, it's actually Kleppen. So yeah.
Oh, did I?
You know what? I've been called so much worse. This is great.
I wrote it down larger because on my notes it's like I can't read that. It's too small a print even with my glasses. I think I need a new pair. And when I transposed it bigger, I wrote it down wrong.
All is forgiven.
So, yeah, if I'd have wrote it down right, I'd have pronounced it right. And before we get into anything, the first important question is, how did the beans turn out?
Well, hopefully fine. I tasked my husband with manning them from this point, but all he has to do is turn off the burner when the timer dings. So
okay, yeah. So we don't know yet. Fingers are still crossed. Huh?
We don't know. Canning beans, though, is usually pretty simple. So hopefully I dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's there.
And you left him with it. Hopefully he doesn't blow up the house.
Right, exactly. Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned.
Oh, goodness. If there's a big explosion during the record, we know what it is. And it's
Indeed.
coming from the kitchen.
Yes, yes.
So, at any rate, finding purpose after loss. I've had a few people on, but as I said to you through Podmatch, which was where we found each other, can't talk about it enough, I don't think. But before we get into finding purpose after loss, let's do it's a Christian show, so the obvious joke, the proverbial first question: where were you born? Where were you raised? Where are you now? Any significant places you've been to between? Did you learn how to make the beans while serving time in prison?
So we're doing testimonials is what we're doing right now. So I actually was born on the West Coast in California and grew up.
My condolences.
Yeah. I try not to start with that, but you kind of put me on the spot. Eventually, my family moved to Wyoming. So I just grew up right outside of Yellowstone. And that is where I consider home.
Oh. So you know Liz Cheney well, then. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're besties, she and I.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Go on.
That's okay. And so I met my husband. He's a North Dakota boy, and I swore I would never live in North Dakota. And we moved there January of 2006. And then I swore I would never live in Minnesota. We moved there in 2017. I now live in South Dakota, which I have wanted to live in South Dakota. I also swore
you're best buds with Kristi Noem, then.
I have so many besties in the political realm. Yeah. I swore I would never homeschool. We are in our 8th year of homeschooling. And
the disaster the public schools are. I'm glad you are.
Right. And so now I'm swearing I'll never be a millionaire, and we're just going to see what the Lord did with that.
Challenge made.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's in your court.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the transcript, We're rolling on the floor laughing, almost literally. This is a fun start. The audio, even not video, they'll hear us laughing, but transcript, if somebody's reading, unfortunately, you got to spell it out for them. You kind of did the born and raised you are now and significant places you've been between. You haven't owned up to how much time you spent for what crime, though.
Yeah, my parole officer says I'm not free to talk about that yet, but once all the dust has settled, we will be free to talk about that.
Finding purpose, one of the big points of this constitutionalist podcast, and even tougher at times after loss, because it's part of life. We all at some point experience it. We all begin dying the day we're born. We're all going to die. Unfortunately, some do sooner than others. And in fact, one of my books, A Short Story, A Lasting Legacy, it's really a novelette, but it's called A Short Story because of someone dying before a normal life expectancy would suggest they would. Finding purpose after loss
starts with just thinking that you have your plans figured out, and then learning one day it doesn't work that way. And so that was...
There's our plans, and then there's God's plans, and then there's also Satan's meddling plans.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so that was kind of my story. I was climbing a corporate ladder in a job I didn't love, but thought that's what I had to do. And got pregnant with our oldest, and she was born by emergency cesarean, 2 months premature.
Oh, boy.
And I was on bed rest before she was born, and then recovering after she was born. And that was kind of a different world, certainly different from how we had planned it.
How's she doing now?
She will be 16, Joe. She will be 16. And
no major lasting effects due to the prematurity?
No, she's always been a big girl in a petite little girl's body. And she is a real blessing. And then I got pregnant again a couple of years later, and I remember this is the craziest thing. I was sitting in my office, and a coworker who would come in and visit with me often, and we would talk about different things going on in life and in our community. And he came in and said that his wife had gone to the YMCA to work out that day, and she saw this little boy and knew that his mom was pregnant. And so she bent down and said, "Hey, how's your mom? Has she had the baby yet?" And the little boy said, "The baby died." And I remember looking at him as I was very pregnant with our second and saying, "Can you imagine going through your entire pregnancy just to have your baby die?" And he said, "No, I can't." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't either." Yeah. Little did I know 2 months later, that would be exactly what happened in our life.
Oh, my. I lost out on a would-be uncle. My grandmother, Josephine, my mother's mother, she lost a brother the day after birth. Mm-hmm. So our family has dealt with that throughout also. My uncle would be Uncle Norman, that wasn't to be, and that affects the family for generations.
Yeah. My husband as well lost an uncle, as did I, in that same fashion. And I mean, regardless of how small your circle is, you know someone who has experienced pregnancy or infant loss. It happens that often.
It's just not talked about.
It is not talked about. And it's not, even though he and I had that conversation in my office, it's almost like your brain won't let you reconcile that those types of things happen or are possible. And so
Denial, a
yes,
degree of denial.
yeah. And I think also self preservation, just because it's such a heavy reality that you don't know how to carry it or deal with it.
Right, right.
And
Well, there's the general stages of grief: shock, denial, anger, acceptance. And in those cases, the denial ends up being a stage most people end up stuck in,
yeah,
or
yeah,
the anger. So the denial is almost better than the anger of the why.
yeah.
Why did this happen to me, to us? Why?
And that was my primary prayer. That was the only prayer I could pray after it happened was, God, why? Why? And I think so. I went into labor with her. I made it to term. They told me I had a beautiful pregnancy. You know, even though I was high risk, nothing was high risk about it until I went into the hospital and they found no heartbeat. And I delivered her in 4 pushes. And I remember when they told us, Joseph, that there was no heartbeat, my husband looked at me with just devastation on his face. But I was so confused because here I was in labor thinking I was about to give birth to our baby, and babies aren't supposed to die. Babies don't. She's safe inside of me. Like, I don't understand. How are you going to get her heart beating again? Like, that was my initial response. And I was kind of frustrated. Like, why is my husband so devastated right now? Everything's going to be fine. Again, this is self-preservation. And
Right.
it
Yeah.
was,
Why can't there be little paddles? Why
yeah,
can't there be an injection of an adrenaline shot? But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, anything. And so when I delivered her and they put her on my chest and she was just this beautiful full term baby girl, but there was no sound in the room. And that's what really got me. That how quiet it was. She wasn't crying, she wasn't moving. The doctor and the nurses were just doing their work but not saying anything. It was just so quiet. And
A somber, yeah,
entirely, yeah.
grieving mood, yeah,
Yeah.
about all involved.
Right. And I remember the Lord being in that room with us. I could feel him. And I often do this, put my left hand up by my head when I say that, because that's where I felt
You
him, right
felt
there
the
in the room,
presence there on your shoulder.
right next to me. And I felt him grieving with us. And the moment, in that moment, it brought me so much comfort. But later on, I was thinking, wouldn't you have rather been celebrating with us? You were the only one who could have stopped
And you
this.
were there. How did you not intervene with a miracle? But here's where I've got to interject. Uh, God gave us all free will. This is a fallen world. Bad things happen to good people all the time. God does not spend all day, every day meddling in the affairs of humanity. Uh, Bad things happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. And on her headstone, we have the verse John 16:33. So I've told you in the world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. And that was really a verse that kind of got us through those darkest moments following. But also, I've felt like such a failure. Our first child was born 2 months premature because I was so sick and nearly died. Our second child was stillborn. Like, I felt like the one thing I was designed to do to bring life into this world, I was failing at. And so I lost all sense of purpose. Like, why am I here when I can't even do the basics? The things that I'm not supposed to have to perform to do, right? Life is just this natural thing, this natural process that happens, and I can't even do that. So why am I here? And it was such a dark, dark
Well,
journey.
we come to take it for granted that, I mean, so there are nearly 8 billion people on the planet now. So procreation and birth have become such a uh, norm to think how simple and basic it should be. But I think we fail to realize the miracle it really is. And it's amazing it doesn't go wrong more often than it does.
That's so true. That's so true. Because every single step that has to happen successfully for any of us to get here is an incredible feat. And so the fact that there are so many people and the fact that we're all, healthy and vibrant and make it to, you know, 40, 50, 80 years and beyond is an absolute miracle. You're right. It is something we take for granted.
Yep. Yep. Now, before we go back to the serious subject, people not watching on video will have no idea, but I see over your right shoulder, from my vantage point, it looks like Rod Serling. What, who is that? What is that?
That is Michael Scott from The Office.
Oh,
It says, would I rather be loved or feared? Easy. Both. I want people to fear how much they love me. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked. I like that. That's good.
That is my husband's contribution to our decor.
It wanted to add a little levity to the, and I say that all the time. We're dealing in very serious stuff here, but even in my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book, there's a comic relief chapter to make that point. No matter how serious everything is, we'll go crazy if we don't maintain a sense of humor. I just recorded with someone earlier in the day, too, and brought up the old Cypress Hill song, Insane in the Membrane. If we don't keep a sense of humor, none of us would be lucid at all. We'd all be locked up in straitjackets.
Yeah. And I think it is a real gift from the Lord. I think the Lord has a sense of humor as well. And I remember my sister showing me a video of my nephew shortly after, I think after Harlan's funeral, after we had buried our daughter, and I laughed so hard. And it was such a juxtaposition because how could my heart be so broken, but I still find this so funny? But it was such a gift in that moment. I needed that. Is it oxytocin? I needed that release and that.
Yes.
That
dopamine hit. Yes.
For sure. Yeah. So it was months and months of just the darkest grief. You can't imagine, here we were planning for her life, her first birthday, her wedding, her college graduation, all these things that would now never be. And instead we had to pick out a teeny tiny coffin and buy a burial plot at the cemetery. And it was too much.
I think that, excuse me, frog in my throat. Yeah, every time, our parents, I only have my sister left. Our parents have passed too. So, going to the cemetery, our parents are buried only a few feet from where the Keeler family plot was, and little Norman, set off to the side of the main big headstone around the full graves. There's the one little plot where the headstone itself is as big as the coffin was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one prepared me, and I'm not sure if you can prepare for walking into that room and seeing how small the caskets are. I mean, my knees buckled, I collapsed. My husband caught me as I just wept staring at them. And I'll never forget the moment at the funeral when my husband went to pick up her casket and carry it to the hearse and just let out this guttural cry as he lifted her casket, and everyone in the auditorium heard it, and it was just there was just silence after this wail that he let out. But then he placed this teeny tiny casket in the back of this hearse, and there was just so much room in the back of the hearse. And
That's immediately what I envisioned too. It's like a speck of sand on the beach. It's lost there. It's so out of place.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There was such a stark contrast, and we took her to the cemetery, and I remember not wanting to leave because the finality of that was just
but
really.
Yet all life has to go on around you. You have to continue to be part of it. You can't completely surrender to that moment and completely fall apart.
Absolutely. I still had a 3-year-old who needed her mama. And I remember riding in the car one day, and she said, "Mama, is your heart broken?" And of course, I just started weeping right then. And I was like, well, yes, it is.
You're going to make me cry right now.
Yeah, it was, it was such a dark time. And also now I just want to say, like, looking back, I never could have seen, the Bible says to give thanks in all circumstances. And I never could have seen how that was possible. And it doesn't say give thanks for all circumstances, praise God. But now we're almost 13 years past when she died. And I can look back. I can turn around and look back and see. As you're walking forward on that path, it's so dark. You can't see anything except one step in front of you. But as I can turn around and look back over the last 13 years, there are flowers all along that dark path, and a lot of them were watered by my tears, but a lot of them were watered by the care we received and the love we received from other people. And it took a long time for me to be able to see that and for me to be able to say that.
I love what you said and how you said it. It reminds me the old footprints in the sand poem. And why, Lord, did you abandon me? I didn't abandon you where you see that one set of footprints. That's where I carried you.
Yeah.
Right. And again, you so eloquently put it, looking back, the flowers that were watered by the good that somehow comes out of the bad. And it's sometimes difficult to recognize that because we're so consumed and saddened and in a way almost wired to dwell upon the why me. In fact, it was just this afternoon I was recording with someone the why me, or no, that was a couple days ago. They become blur at times. But there's the two. Why me, Lord? Like Richard Lynch, I recorded with and aired in January. Why me, Lord? Why am I getting these blessings? And then there's the other tonal different. Why me? Why does this bad stuff keep happening? Right? It's the same verbiage, but the context completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so hard to reconcile either of those when you're in the moment, but it takes, I tell other bereaved parents, especially, the only way through to the other side is walking through that messy middle. You have to walk through it. There's no way around it, over it, under it. You have to go
no
through
magic way to skip over it. The stages of shock, denial, anger, acceptance. It's kind of the unfortunate mental reality. You've got to go through the phases or you can't come out the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to just remind people and to validate this for some, even, that grief is very cyclical. And so just because you are no longer in denial or you're no longer angry, and you're in this other phase of grief doesn't mean you're not ever going to be in denial or ever going to be angry again.
You can regress. Yeah, you will have, we're human.
Just,
We have our bad moments that we fall backwards. Yes.
yeah. And it becomes familiar and is almost, it goes from hurting so much to be in any stage of grief to almost being comforted because at least you know kind of what to expect, or that, okay, this is grieving now. And for a long time, my grief was the only tangible thing I had of my daughter. And so people would say like, oh, I wish I could take your hurt away, or I wish I could make this not be so bad for you. And I would say, don't you dare, because this is the only thing I have of her right now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The minute you started saying that, I immediately went back to, I think it's Star Trek V, the movie. People think of the Star Trek series and especially the movies as this funny, irreverent sci-fi dream of the future, but there's a lot of real here and now human condition plot points. Star Trek V, I think if I get it right, is the one where we discover Spock's long lost half brother that we didn't know existed for 4 decades. But that aside, that ridiculousness of the plot point. But yeah, like with Bones, I let me take away your pain. And Kirk saying, no, I need my pain. And the bad things that happen to us help build our character, make us who we are. The old native adage, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. That is, it doesn't make us happy. It can make us miserable, but it does build a stronger character.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, people are very well intentioned in saying those things. And I think a lot of it is because they're uncomfortable because they know you're hurting and they just want to fix it. But you can't. I mean, the one thing I wanted was my daughter back, and no one could have given me that or helped me with that. And so it's okay to be uncomfortable. Like that is one lesson I learned over and over again. It's okay to be uncomfortable, and it's okay to let other people be uncomfortable too. For a while, I felt like even though I was grieving, I had to offer comfort and understanding to other people because they didn't know what to do or say or how to act or feel. And I got to the point where I was like, this is bogus. I'm the one who buried my daughter, and I'm just going to feel what I feel when I feel it. It's okay for
and
me
you
to
are entitled. Yeah, you are entitled to feel all those negative, almost. I did a show with Leslie Hall, our animal side. We can't deny that exists because we are supposedly the most sentient being on the planet. Comparatively, we're still primitive animals, no matter how much we've progressed technologically.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, there is something carnal about the depths of the grief that we experienced. And yeah, it is and can be primitive, but also, you know, we are human, and just giving us grace. Like, even Jesus wept when he knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead. You know, it's okay to feel things. Like, that is absolutely okay. And I kept him at an arm's length tether for a long time because I wanted to see my daughter again, but I was mad and I was confused. And so I talked to him kind of because I had to, not really because I wanted to.
Yeah, oh, I hear you. Amen. And I'm grabbing one of my books. This is a Constitutionalist Politics 3 based on the show, but it's actually CTP 4 that's available on Kindle version only, Kindle exclusive, where I go into anger. Jesus never said anger is a sin. Pridefulness, hubris is a sin. Anger is not. It can be a sin if we channel our anger into negative other things like destructiveness and lashing out and harming another. Then it becomes a sin. But anger as a raw human emotion is not a sin.
Yeah. Yeah. It says, the letter says, do not sin in your anger, meaning you're going to be angry, but you better watch it when you are. Yeah.
How you
Absolutely.
channel it is what matters in your character and what you will be judged on, not that you got angry. That's
Yeah.
to be expected.
Yeah. And I was angry, and I think I handled it just by pouting and really kind of metaphorically throwing these mental tantrums. You know, I didn't want to read my Bible. I didn't want to pray. I didn't want to fellowship with other believers. I didn't want to be encouraged. Like, I just wanted to sit in my pain for a moment. And I remember I was leading support groups at the time for other bereaved families and just really giving my all to encourage them. And then there was a woman from church who called me one day, and she was going through something that I would have considered incredibly benign given the fact that I just put my daughter in the ground. Like, what she was going to felt so minimal.
Perspective, though, yes. Yeah.
Yes. But for her, it was a big deal, and she was really struggling. And she called me and said, I know you're a prayer warrior, and I really want you to pray for me. And Joseph, I was so offended when she said that to me, because I sat there thinking, my only prayer for the last 7 months has been, God, why? And you're calling that a warrior? Like, of course she wasn't. She was saying it was like life before Harlan and life after Harlan. And life before Harlan, man, I was all about praying for people all the time. And she needed my prayer then, and I wanted her off the phone. And so I said a prayer, an actual prayer. And as I was praying, something shifted. I could feel it physically. I could sense it.
You needed that to shake you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I started reading the Psalms, because for a long time I thought David was probably bipolar, because his Psalms were way up and manic and then way down. But then
Yeah, bipolar before bipolar was cool, huh? Yeah.
Exactly. But then my daughter died, and I understood David on a whole different level at that point. So I started reading the Psalms, and I got to Psalm 139, and especially where it says, you hem me in before and behind. And I could just picture the Lord's hands just encasing me, and something shifted. And so gradually I crawled back into his presence, and he started to reveal so many different paths for me than I thought. And what I thought was my purpose, which was just to get up, go to work, drop my daughter off here, take my husband to work over here, and all of us are split up across town, became something so different. And my perspective shifted. I'll never forget getting a phone call at work, and it was a man who had a few different trust accounts. And he wanted to take assets from one trust account and transfer them to another so that he could make his boat payment. And I remember thinking, this is the most pointless, unimportant responsibility I could possibly have, that this man could make his boat payment. What am I doing here? My daughter is in the ground across town. My other daughter is in a daycare across town in someone else's care. Like, my husband is on the opposite side of town. What are we doing? I don't feel like this is God's design for family. I don't feel like this is God's design for my life. And so I really started asking him, like, what are we supposed to do here? Because I don't think this is it. And that's really kind of when it started. He put us on these different paths. And now my son is going to be 12. So for almost 13 years now, I've been working from home, part-time, earning an income, homeschooling my kids, which I never thought I would do. Those homeschool families, they're weird, and that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's the perception that the indoctrination families or factories want of those weird Christian sandal wearing freaks only do it, right?
Yeah. And I've been humbled in that so many times, and so many homeschool families are way cooler than I could ever hope to be. So, but yeah, I think that just really the Lord opened a lane for me in where all the times that I was encouraged in those dark, dark days, and since He really heightened my empathy for other people, and now I am encouraging not only bereaved parents and bereaved mothers, but just mothers in general. And it was 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, that I was sick with the most random sore throat I'd ever had. And I was listening to podcasts, which I did not do. I remember,
and here you're on them now. Yeah.
I'm on them. I remember thinking, like, this would be so fun to host a podcast, but just because I can talk about anything doesn't mean I should, probably.
Well, you need my podcasting quick start guide.
There you go. Is there any book you don't have, Joseph?
No, or I need you to write a book about it. Buy my How to Write a Book and Get It Published guide. Yeah.
Check. We're checking them off. And so I remember waking up the next morning after having a dream about hosting a podcast. And I thought, okay, Lord, if this is you, I'm listening. But like, if I just had some bad pizza or something, who knows?
Right. How do you distinguish? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I prayed about it, right? Because I was like, I had that thought and then I had that dream, and that's just too coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences. So I prayed about it. And immediately upon praying, I kind of downloaded this business plan. And so I'm typing it out, and I was quarantined in my bedroom, and so I emailed this plan to my husband as an idea. And my husband is he's the guy who, you'll understand this as an IT guy, Joseph. He's the guy who finds problems and tells me why things won't work. So when I run things,
he tries to find the holes in the plan, which is good, because then you know how to fill the hole.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself. And so he replied after reading it and said, I love this and I want to hear more, which coming from him was a really, really big deal. That was like a borderline raving review compliment.
Who are you? What did you do with my real husband? Right?
Yeah. Exactly. So after that, I was like, okay, Lord, like I'm listening. So Brent and I, my husband, we were trying to come up with titles for it, looking for websites, looking for, social media handles. Social media. Anyway. So he was coming up with all of these names, and they were awful. They were just terrible. And I thought to myself, I'm smiling on the outside, trying to be supportive of his ideas, but just thinking on the inside, why is he trying to name a podcast about motherhood? He has no experience. And then I thought, oh, that's it. The motherhood experience. That's it. And so he was like, hey, that domain is available. These social handles are available. Should I buy it? And I hemmed and hawed because I didn't know, like, it all was happening so fast. And I didn't want to get before the Lord on it. And I certainly didn't want to make more work for myself if I didn't have to. And I told him, I said, okay, yeah, go ahead and buy it. And as soon as he clicked purchase, my sore throat went away. And so now here we are.
Your voice literally and figuratively cleared up.
Yes. And so I was like, okay. So it's the most fun assignment I've ever been given, but I still hold it with an open hand. At any time, the Lord can say, your assignment's done, you fulfilled it, but man, I'm having fun.
Yeah, I want to start to wrap things up, but I want to go back to what you said about Psalms. It's important to understand because my show, I deal in the whole Bible in full context. And that's part of the problem. People want to pick and choose something and ignore the whole thing. And indeed, as you discovered, as you portrayed, you didn't need Psalms before then. It didn't apply to you before then. Different parts apply at different parts of our walk with Christ in life.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I mean, I will be the first to admit, prior to that, I was a little arrogant in my Bible reading, thinking that I didn't need it or it didn't apply to me. But Psalm 139, it talks about 3 very important characteristics of God: his omniscience, his omnipresence, and his omnipotence. And it really breaks it up beautifully into those 3 sections. But the whole chapter is encouraging. I mean, except for maybe the slay all my enemies part at the end. But even that has its day and time, right?
For everything, there is a season. Yes.
So true. So, but that chapter really ministered to me. And also knowing that, I went from thinking that David was this, mentally ill, he'll go and fight giants or, whatever the case, but also just his heart and his willingness to feel things as he felt them and to share those in written form is, I think, an encouragement to all of us. And we all should not shy away from, rather embrace, just acknowledging that the Lord can work through those.
Yeah, I hear you, right? There's an unbeatable giant. Oh, let me at him. Yeah, that's not a generally sane kind of a thought.
Yeah. I do appreciate that spirit, though, and I think I think a younger Val probably would have had the same zeal, but yeah, I agree with you in taking things in context.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said your name again because I haven't repeated it enough. You need, as a podcaster, so that the podcastees, as I call them, the listeners or the viewers, have it sink in. As someone involved in politics, I know you need to touch a person 7 times, 7 ways for things to stick.
Yeah. So once again, Constitutionalist podcast listeners, I am Joe's favorite guest, Val Cleppen.
No A in there.
No A.
2 E's. Spell it right. I will spell it right in post when I put it on the scroll. Yeah, Val Cleppen, Kleppe, and 2 P's there. So do you have well, we know you have the website. You said you got a domain. What is it?
That's right. You can find me at themotherhoodexperience.com. And that will have links to the current episode or the most recent episodes. It will have links for contacting me. If you go to themotherhoodexperience.com/learn more, that's how you can join my email list. We've got lots of fun things going on.
Thank you, Val Cleppen, for joining today. Well, there were parts that I was going to say it was a hoot. There were a few parts that, again, we kept our sense of humor about us. Very serious topic, though. Very important topic for people to hear, as well as, again, that insane in the membrane if we don't keep a sense of humor and perspective and ability to self-reflect. A lot of times, as the old adage goes, you point the finger, 3 of your own fingers are still pointing back at you. You got to self-reflect. Thine own self be true. applies in many ways, and remove the log from thine own eye. So yes, we've got to know what is our real place in this bigger part of the puzzle. So thank you again, Val Cleppen, for coming by. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Take care. God bless.
Welcome to Michigan. Oh, 4 seasons in a day. Scrape the frost off your windshield, then you're sweating by the bay. Winter storm watch, middle of May. Mother Nature shrugs her shoulders, doesn't care what you gotta say. Welcome to Michigan. Hey! Sunburned boots and a hoodie on. Sky keeps changing its mind. We all just play along. Coffee in the morning, tailgate in the freezing rain. Seasonal affective disorder, but we're laughing through the pain. Lake effect headlines, phone buzz, no day in June. Bare trees, green lawn, same street, same afternoon. We keep a coat in the backseat, sunglasses on the dash. We plan our whole weekend around a maybe kind of forecast. Welcome to living. Sunburned boots and a hoodie on. Keeps changing its mind. We all just play along. Coffee in the morning, tailgate in the freezing rain. Seasonal affective disorder, but we're dancing in the strange. Yeah, we're pale, yeah, we're tired, yeah, we still go out and stay. Cause the sun hits just a second and we're all okay. Okay, oh yeah. Welcome to Michigan. All 4 seasons in a day. We joke that we might move someday, but you know, we're here to stay. Coffee in the morning, laughing as the skies rearrange. Seasonal affective disorder, it's just the Michiganian way. Welcome to Michigan. All 4 seasons, all in one day. Absolutely the Michiganian way. Winter storm watch, middle of May. Mother Nature don't care what you got to say. Seasonal affective disorder, all year long, supposed to be sunny. What went wrong? Scraped ice off my windshield and flip-flops, shorts and shades. Sunburn on my left arm, right side freezing in the sleet. Grill smoking in the driveway, snowflakes in the lemonade. Forecast said it's fine today. Guess that's just another cheat. Welcome to Michigan. All 4 seasons in a day. Sky can't make up its mind, changes every mile you drive away. Winter storm watch in the middle of May. Mother Nature shrugs and says, I don't care what you got to say. Hey. but it gets heavy in the long days. Seasonal sadness in the rearview glass. Still we stay, we stay, we stay. Welcome to Michigan. All 4 seasons in a day. We keep driving through the drifting rain, chasing any little break of gray. A winter storm watch on your graduation day. Mother Nature smirks and says, I don't care what you got to say. Welcome to Michigan. Yeah, we love it anyway. Welcome to Michigan. Well, we love it anyway.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.